Hi folks, and hope you're all keeping well. Thank you for tuning in to my channel again, and thank you very much for all the likes and comments and all the subscribers too. I have to say though that only about 10% of the people that watch my videos still subscribe, so it'd be nice to see that increased. If you like the stuff that I'm doing, think about hitting the subscribe button. It's completely free, and so I'll hopefully bring you lots more content throughout the year. So today I'm going to show you, or attempt to show you, how I recreated this version of Sweet Dreams, the classic 80s song by the Eurythmics. And although it's only 3 minutes long, it's quite a complicated little thing to put together. So you can hear the main sort of riff running in the background at the moment. I'm just going to run through all of the sequences with you. So this is sequence number 1. This is sequence number 2. This is sequence number 3. Then back to sequence 2. And back to sequence 1. So this is how it would play throughout the song. So then after the next verse we'd go back into sequence 2, then to sequence 3, back to sequence 2, and then to sequence 3, into sequence 4. Sequence 1. So the reason for doing these splits over different sequences is that the patterns, you could probably do it on 4, but I've done them on 2 patterns. So the initial sequence is over 2 patterns. The second sequence is 2 patterns. The third sequence is 2 pattern lengths. The fourth one, sorry, the third one, I'm losing count now. The fourth one, sorry, the fourth one is over 4. And the reason for that is that at the end of the next loop of 4, there is a break before it goes back into the verse again. So that sort of da at the end is where it breaks back into the main verse. So there's 5 sequences. The sequence 1 is obviously the main riff. So a little bit of basics for you. The tempo is set to 125 beats per minute, and the drum kit mainly consists of TR-606 kit 1. So let's have a look at the drums to start with. We'll just isolate the drums on the first track. Just turn it up a little bit. So it's very simple. We've got snare drum 1 on positions 1, 5, 9 and 13, and we've got snare drum 2 on positions 5 and 13. So that's all we've got in the first sequence. In the instruments for that, we've got D1, which is the R&B Bass 1, shifted down 1 octave, and it's playing this. So shifted down 1 octave, it's playing C. Yeah, sorry, it's playing this lower C, so it's playing C, A flat, G. So on the second pattern, you can see that the notes are actually changing on positions 1 and positions 9. And on Digital Synth 2, we've got this pattern. Now we're using, for this, we're using the 106 bass 1, again shifted down 1 octave, and it's basically playing octaves. So we're starting on here. So it's going C from the bottom C, 2 C's there, then 2 C's up here, then to E flat, down to C, down to A flat, 3 times, sorry. So finishing on, so after 3 of these, go to B flat, down to G, 2 G's, B flat, C. So that can be programmed in, basically just playing a note and pressing the button to go with it. So it's over 2 bars, so you just play the notes in. So it starts on the C, 2 C's there, 2 C's there, E flat, 2 E flats, 2 C's again, then to the second bar, 3 A flats, then to the B flat, down to the G, B flat, B flat, C. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll try and write it down in some sort of form in the description for the video. Okay, let's press on. So the next sequence, we've got the analog bass. So it's similar pattern on the analog. It's using the Porta lead 1, shifted down 1 octave. So the initial first note is just 1 note dragged out over to the 5th position. So very similar to the previous pattern, but just with that slight difference with the first note on the start of each pattern. So all the instruments together. So that's the first sequence. Let's go to the second sequence. So the second sequence sort of runs over, it sounds like it should be one complete sequence, but the way that it works, it's done, there's actually 6 patterns in there, and the JD-Xi won't do that. It'll only do either 2, 1, 2 or 4. So because this has got 6 patterns in it, it has to be done this way, because it's switching backwards and forwards between the two. It sort of starts on this one, goes to the next one, and back to the first one again, then back to the main riff. So that's why it has to be done this way. I couldn't figure any other way around doing it. Okay, so the instruments that we've got on here, in fact let's have a look at the drums first. I think the drums are fairly similar. No, they're not. We've just, on this one, the drums on, it's just snare drum 2 by itself. So it's just playing on positions 1, 9 of each of the patterns. So pattern 1, pattern 2, playing on positions 1 and 9. Here we go. So D1. D1 is this voice. I'm using the JD Softvox, it's called, on D1. And the JD Softvox is actually playing fairly simple chords. So we're playing an A flat and a B and an E flat, and then down to a D and a G. If I just isolate that for you and play it. So it's just playing for the length of the pattern. It's playing, so for pattern 1 it's playing this chord, the A flat and the E flat, and for the second length of that pattern, on the next pattern length, it's playing the G and the D. And the other instruments we've got on here. Okay, so we've got this 106, the same bass again as in the initial first pattern. It's playing. So we're playing again octaves. So we're starting on the A flat. And it's playing in these, on these notes here. So in bar 1 it's playing, so A flat to A flat, up to B flat. Then in the second sequence it's going down to the G, up to the B flat again. And I keep wanting to hear the rest of it, but it's on the next sequence. And we've got so they listen to those two together. And then the analog synthesizer is using a different sound. It's using the Toxic Bass 1, and it's playing, it's shifted down 1 octave again, and it's playing A flat down to G. Just those two notes there. So starting on first pattern with the A flat, and then the second pattern with the G. With the other instruments. So that's not too difficult, that analog one. And the next sequence is very similar. No, it's not very similar. It's quite a bit different, isn't it? The same voices are obviously again that we're using in here. So the JD Softvox on so that's playing these simple chords again. So we're starting on a G and a C, going to a G and an F, sorry, a C and an F, and then down to a C and an E flat. And so the next voice, the D2 voice, so that's playing this sequence here. So it's going again doing the octaves between the two C's. Again, it's playing on these positions here. So that's the first sequence, first pattern of that sequence, and then the second pattern. So it's very similar. That's playing those there. Again, I'll try and write this down in some sort of form in the notes. And then the last sequence, the analog, it's playing this. So it's playing three notes. It's going from down to the G. So it's down to G, C, down to G, to the A flat. So all together. So that's that sequence. The next sequence, so we're going quite a bit different now. So the drums on this one, we've got on the drums, so we've got the closed hi-hat on every position bar positions 1 and 9, and on the second bar it's exactly the same, on the third bar it's exactly the same, and on the fourth bar it's exactly the same. So this is a 4-bar sequence. We've also got on in here, we've got the partial hi-hat. Now that appears on the ones that the closed hi-hat doesn't. So the partial hi-hat is on positions 1 and 9 of each pattern. Okay, of each of the 4 patterns in that sequence. And we've got the snare drum 3 appearing on positions 5 and 13 of all of the 4 patterns in that sequence. Okay, so number 2, let's look at number 2. So D1 in this sequence isn't used, but there's nothing actually on D1 in this, particularly in this first part of this bridge between the chorus and the verse, where it's doing the hold your head up bit where the vocals come in. So we're using on D2, it's the JD Piano 1, and again it's playing simple chords. So it's shifted down 1 octave, and we're playing a G and a C down here, and C and an F, then C and a G. So finishing on the C and the F again, so it's playing do it with the drums. And we've got the analog is pull space 1, and it's playing this. So it's playing down here. It's not, we're not shifted down 1 octave, we're just playing this low C on the keyboard. So it's going from C to F to G, back to F. Let's do it with the drums. And I would suggest doing that real-time record, because it's not that difficult really to get that timing right on those notes. Just let it count it in for 4 bars, and then start on the first one. Let's do it with the piano. Here we go. So that's how that one works. Now the second part of that, which again this is, seems like you want to hear the rest of it, but the rest of it's on the next pattern. So we've got the only difference there, we've got this other instrument which I'm using on D1 now. I've got this thing called E-sitar. It's on the keyboard selection, and it's like a sitar type sound, and it's playing, the E-sitar is playing, I'll find my notes, it's playing actually it's playing high register, yeah, it's up here. So again it's shifted up 1 octave for it, oddly enough. We're shifted up 1 octave and we're playing right up here in this high register, and we're going to play, so it's going, so it's G down to E flat on these positions here of the pattern. So again you could program these in by pressing the note and then just pressing the appropriate button. So it's starting on 9, so we've got, so 9 is G, 10 would be an E flat, and 12 would be an E flat, 14 would be an F, and then 15 would be the C. So that's the difference. The end of it's the different part, because it's then It's that short break, that short interlude or pause between that and going back into the main verse again. So that last sequence, that last pattern of that sequence, number 4, there's no E sitar in that. There's also, on the drums, we've only got the partial hi-hat playing on the same positions, on positions 1, 9 and 13. The closed hi-hat only appears on positions 2 and 3. The snare drum 3 still appears, so it's on 5 and 13. So I'll just isolate it so you can hear it. Let it play through again. And the piano sound, let's get back to the piano. So that's just playing on that last bar, it's playing those two there. We might have another note in there somewhere, but it's a while since I've done this, so I can't remember. But it's the C and the F mainly that needs to be in there. I think does the analog? Yeah, the analog plays along with it, I think. No, it doesn't. It just plays that one note, so the analog's playing. So the analog is the same. I think the E sitar is the different. So that's. Okay, we're nearly at 30 minutes, and we'll need to wrap this up at 30, I think. Otherwise people will be falling asleep. So the last bits just to cover are the extra pieces that play on top, as well as obviously there's vocals in there. There's also extra synthesizer parts as well. So when it goes back to that, let's just play it through. So when it goes back to that, after that interlude, there is another instrument that comes in. Now, the only way of doing this is either if you've got another keyboard, or if you can record your Roland and play some lead over the top of it. So it's basically playing. So it's playing the G. See if I can play it. So it's not that easy to play on this keyboard. I did it actually on the Roland using, got the voice set up, this oct strings. And with a bit of modulation on it as well, but I can't play it on here. You should play it on the recorder.
Keep your head up.
So this is coming off the recorder now. So it just goes slightly up. just jumping up to that G up there instead of going down at the second time you hear it. And then there's extra synthesizer bits comes in.
Some of them want to.
So again, we've got this extra synthesizer sound on here. We've also got that vocal as well, which I forgot to mention that we've got in there. Let's just bring that in on. So we got that vocal playing on the pattern, on this pattern here. I'm using a voice on this Roland JD-Xi. And again it goes over to the next pattern. Then back into the main song again. So that's just the added instrument that's in there, and so there's variations on that as well.
Hold your head up. Moving on. Hold your head up. Moving on.
So there's the same strings coming in there again, but the strings are actually played on at a lot lower register. That's how I did it, really, just multi-tracking it on the little multi-track recorder that I used to make these videos with. And again, towards the end, you hear the main riff, that riff come back in again.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to?
So that's basically playing.
Disagree. I travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dream.
And when it gets to that part, what I did in the video, just simply dropped all the instruments out and just let it play the pattern by just the drums by itself, with the vocals going on top.
Dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree?
Then it goes back.
Sweet dreams are made of this.
So it's got everything there, everything running on the JD-Xi, plus the lead sound over on the top of the.
Looking for something.
So if you've stuck with that to the end, I congratulate you. We're nearly at 35 minutes. Probably one of the longest ones I've done, probably one of the shortest videos that I've done, but it did take a little bit of explaining. So I'll try and put some notes in the description. May not be there straight away, but they will be there eventually. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. So if you like the stuff that I'm doing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Take care, wish you all the best, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.